Hey there, Sovereigns. Monica Grace from cardreadingqueen.com here. Today's content is 3 ways to understand your twin soul union at an energetic level. And in this piece of content, I'm going to do an Atlantean healing update. So I talked about the energy healing that I did. It was basically mid-June, and I recorded some content about that. And I think I can't remember the title. I think it's something about how to know if you should do energetic healing on your twin soul journey, something like that. So I talked about this healing that I did. It's called Atlantean healing, and it's through Kelly at Purple Priestess. So you can Google this or look this up for yourself if you are interested. So I did that healing mid-June. This is like a week or so later that I'm recording this. However, you will probably be seeing this in like 3 weeks from now. So it's probably going to be sometime in July by the time you are seeing or listening to this episode. However, I wanted to give you some things that I'm learning based on that healing. So I've had a lot of weird experiences and insights since this energy healing. And I'd have to say, I don't know if energy healing is real, if that's what you want to call it, or I still have some skepticism around energy healing and how it can help you. But I will say that something has been shifting for me, and a lot of unusual stuff has been happening as a result. So I wanted to tell you that, and what I really wanted to tell you was the 3 different ways that I've been tapping into the energy of my twin soul union, which, again, your twin soul union, it exists inside you. And it's been really interesting for me though, because I've been tapping into it at a different level to understand where I'm at on the twin soul journey. And typically what I have to do is look on the outside and see like what results I'm getting in the physical to better understand my journey. So the first way that I've been tapping into that energy has been just through asking my higher power. And I'll just, your higher power can be your creator, God, the universe, source, spirit, really anything that you want. So I would call my higher power God. So I've been basically just conversing with God a lot more, and I've been tapping into the energy of my twin soul union at truly like the purest level that I can. And I guess you would call that the higher levels. So like the 5D or whatever you want to call it, like the soul level. But basically something that's not it's not earthly. It's not the earthly energy of it. It's the energy of how the union looks in its purest form. And so I've been tapping into this and getting like visuals of what that is, of the design of the energy of my union at the purest levels. And so the energy of my union, which surprised me a little bit, though it didn't once I started to understand it, but the way I was seeing my union, it was very nostalgic, and it was really 2 children playing together in a field and growing up together, experiencing life together as, I would say, as best friends. So it was these two beings, a masculine and a feminine, and they were really just like childhood friends. And growing up together, getting to know each other that way. I don't know that they were neighbors necessarily, but they they definitely had grown up in like the same area. And as I was tapping into this, I was like, okay, that's cute. So maybe the twin soul union, or my twin soul union, is just like this friendly thing. And then God was like, no. And he was showing me like once they were older, like an appropriate age. So I don't know, like maybe teenagers, but like older teens. So like the age that's coming to mind is like age 17. So something older. They were like basically falling in love. And it was just really sweet. Like it was just a really easy and sweet transition into their love for each other. And I would say I was pretty confused about this whole vision. And like when I tap into it, it's the same thing. Like it's not like this has changed at all. And it's very hard for me as an adult, because it's like I don't see that anywhere. Like I don't, and like I was like, I'm not even like really that attracted to this stuff, and then to like that type of story. And then I realized, like, when I think about all my favorite movies, it's always, you know, people falling in love as young adults. So I think about like some of the movies that kind of capture the same energy as this vision does. The Notebook. It's kind of the most obvious one for me anyway. And for those of you who don't know, The Notebook is basically like these two teenagers fall in love and then they get separated for a long time. And I read the book as well, so I don't know in the movie versus the book, but it was, the number that's coming to mind is like 14 years. But I know it was different in the book and movie. And then they finally like get back together, and it's just the same as it ever was. Like they're just like still as deeply in love, and they can't really explain why they're in love. It's just they have these feelings because they don't really have a lot in common, to be honest, but they know that they're in love by their feelings. And so it's kind of like this puppy love that turns into like a foundation for an adult relationship. Another movie that I am obsessed with and like love this movie so much, like from the minute this movie came out, I knew I was in love with it. It's called Love, Rosie, and it's also based on a book which I haven't read. But this movie is pretty much the same thing. Like these two kids grow up together. They're like neighbors or something, I don't remember. But they grow up together, and then just through a series of like ridiculous events, they don't get together when they're at a certain age, like when they're, 18 or whatever. They don't get together, and they go their separate paths, and just like over and over and over again, they just keep missing each other, even though they are each other's like first loves, true loves, and they're like in love with each other, and they just keep missing and messing it up. So that's another movie. And then there's a third movie called Flipped. And it's again, like these little kids who are neighbors, and one's in love with the other and just like harasses him. And he just wants nothing to do with her. And then as he gets older, he realizes he's in love with her, and she's just to the point of like this deep anger toward him, so she is not interested. But like they kind of, and then they do eventually get together when they're like teenagers, but they kind of have again this like back and forth situation. So my friend Susan, I talk about her all the time. She writes fiction as well, which I do too. I write fiction. And my fiction it's young adult fantasy is the genre that I write in the most. And it's, again, lots of stories about people falling in love when they're teenagers. and being, you know, basically destined to be together. And she also writes books like this where it's like neighbors who fall in love, or, you know, people in class who fall in love, like that sort of thing. So that's definitely the energy of the union. And what I realized about this was that I was tapping into this energy. The energy surprised me because it was really this energy of nostalgia, but also innocence, which I don't think of as being part of my twin soul union, I guess. But, and there's also no one in real life who really matches this for me. So that, for me, is also pretty confusing. But I realized, like, that the goal, I guess, of this exercise is to notice what your perfect love story is. And I think that's what this was. So it was like, I was tapping into the energy of it, but it was just showing me what I basically already knew, which is that my perfect love story would be like growing up with somebody and they would be my first love, and then we would be together forever. Like that would be my perfect love story. And I did a video, or like there was a video and a podcast episode about how this didn't happen and it didn't work out for me. And it was called something like What to Do When Your Love Story Doesn't Feel Good. So you can go check that out. So for me, it was kind of like, well, this isn't how things played out, but it was interesting to just tap into that energy, because that's what the union would feel like in its purest form, is like you've known that person forever, and like it's like the love was always there, basically, is what it would feel like. So the second thing, so that was a huge and interesting insight for me. The second thing that I've been doing is just asking my higher power, who again for me is God, what I was missing about my soul design. So basically asking my higher power to reveal to me what I don't know about myself. And so, you know, and you can do this with anything. It could be with tarot or oracle cards, which is a lot of how I've done it, but it could also just be through meditation, or like, you know, basically just asking the question and seeing what signs come up, or allowing like claircognizance to happen, whatever you want to do. So what God recently revealed to me about myself was that he said basically I need to make peace with being the breadwinner in the relationship. And this has been a pretty big upset for me. I really struggle with the idea that I would be the breadwinner. And I think a big part of it is that in my relationship with my ex-husband, I was the breadwinner for years. And being the breadwinner is very stressful. If you are the breadwinner, you understand this in your relationship. Or, you know, if you have to make a lot of money to take care of people, or to take care of a full family, like maybe you're a single parent, or even just a parent in general, but you know, this typically, as a single parent, this falls on the parent a lot. But just this idea of having to make like either all or most of the money for the family. So this has been, so with my ex-husband, I was the breadwinner. It was really stressful, and it also like forced me to do a lot of things that didn't make sense for my soul design, or didn't make sense for my personality, if you want to call it that way. And the other thing was that I even though I made all the money and made a lot of money in my relationship, my ex-husband controlled all the money. So it was like I was making like 6 figures a year, and I was not allowed, I guess, to like go out to dinner with my coworkers. Or I was not allowed to buy a pair of jeans. And it was just like any money I spent was like a huge issue for my ex-husband. And we, you know, it was a real problem for him. And he like tracked it religiously. He would like call me and ask me like, what did you spend this on? Why did you spend it? And it was just like this constant level of chatter around every purchase I made. So I basically stopped buying anything. Like I like almost never bought anything unless it was like gas or like things that like I had to buy to live. And so it was like this very controlling thing for me. And it did feel like so I guess there were a couple upsets around it for me. One was that I always had to do a job that I didn't really love in order to make that level of money that we needed, which was stressful. And then the other piece of it was like, I had no control over the money I was making. And that was just very like exhausting for me to like be making so much money and still feel so poor all the time, like still, and like be so embarrassed by it. Like my coworkers would be like, you know, you can't pay for this, or I'd be like, I can't go because like my husband will be mad at me. And it was just like, it made me feel like a child still. Like I just felt so constricted. So Guy was saying that I'm actually designed to be the breadwinner, and I'm not the breadwinner in my current relationship. You know, my husband probably makes the majority of the money, I would say, which is fine. And it felt good for a while to be taken care of. And I think I've talked about this on this channel or my podcast channel before, how basically, you know, after my relationship with my ex-husband, I was like, I never want to be with somebody who's with me because I can make money again. So I made myself like pretty much like almost destitute, like as poor as I possibly can, in order to test my husband, my current husband. And he was finally like, look, like I love you, but you have to make money. Like you don't get to just like not have any money ever. And it was like I was making myself as worthless as possible in order to test to see if he would still love me. And I wasn't doing any of this consciously. Like I'm not like a jerk. I wasn't trying to manipulate him. It was more just like this subconscious thing of like, I do not want to be the breadwinner in this relationship, and I do not want to be loved because I have money or because I can make money. So basically God was saying that by design, my soul design is to be the breadwinner of my twin soul relationship. And my businesses that I have created and that I am creating are meant to sustain the relationship and provide like all the financial resources for the relationship. Even saying this makes me really stressed out. But the good thing about it is that I don't have to compromise. So like that was another thing. I felt like in order to be the breadwinner, I couldn't do my life purpose. And so God was like, no, your life purpose is going to make you the breadwinner. And then another part of it is that God was even saying like, you have been saying that you want your twin soul to be a partner in your business, but that's actually not going to happen. Like that's not what is in your design. And the only reason you want that is out of codependency. It's not because it's part of your union at all. And so that was like another huge upset for me. And still is. Like, I'm still working through all this. And I just want to say I'm on the journey just as anybody else listening to this. So I don't have all the answers. I just try to share insights and what I have learned on the journey. But basically he was saying, like, he was just saying that the reason I want the partnership is because I feel not good enough or not capable of turning my businesses into the breadwinner businesses that they are meant to be. So he was saying, like, you're never going to have your twin soul really in your business. Not that they're not going to support it, but they're never going to be like 50-50 partnering in your business. And the reason is because the reason you want that is codependent. So you have to, like, as you know, your twin soul doesn't, like, if there's something you're not able to give yourself, or if you're coming from a place of wounding with, you know, toward your twin soul, they are going to not give you that thing because they want to show you, like, your wounding. And so this is what God was showing me, just like, this isn't gonna happen because it can't, because it's not your soul design. So then I was asking, what is my partner gonna do? And basically God was saying that my partner's not really meant to have a job, or is not, you know, and that what he's going to do is create comfort within the union. So what exactly does that mean, creating comfort? So I was like, is this like he's gonna dote on me? Like, I didn't really get it. And guy was like, no, it's not like breakfast in bed and back rubs. It's not that kind of comfort, though. And I've never had a relationship where I had something like that, where some guy like dotes on me. That's just not. And it's not even that I wouldn't like it. Like, sure, of course I would like it every once in a while, but it would also make me feel like uncomfortable. So it's not that. It was more that he's going to build our dream life. Like, he's still going to be working, but it's not going to be it's not going to be like a job that you go to work at. It's like he's going to be building our dream life. And I didn't even know what it is. Like, I was like, building a house, building furniture. And I was kind of thinking about it because, you know, my husband he's a woodworker. He has a wood shop. And he's been building a lot of furniture for us. And even just like yesterday, he was talking about building like some furniture for our dining room. And he wants to build like this big table. And we were talking about like how much it would cost and like are his skills at the right level for him to be able to do it. And you know, we were just like, yeah, this is gonna happen eventually. Like, he's gonna build us a table, and he has all the stuff for it, the tools. And so it was kind of that. It was basically just this energy of like, he's gonna be doing work to like secure the rest of your life, and take you guys toward your dreams. So I'm still working through this a lot. Cause like for me, when God was telling me this, it doesn't really sound like me necessarily. But then as I've been thinking about it, it does make sense. And I am good at making money, and I am holding myself back in my business. And I do want a partner out of codependency and not out of wanting to share necessarily, and not even out of needing a partner, because I've been doing my business on my own for so long. It's like, but it's just a lot to it's a lot to deal with. It's a lot to think about and a lot to like worry about, and it's bringing up a lot of stuff for me. So then the third one is that so the third way that I'm tapping into the energy of my union is really just, and the best way I can explain this, it's really just to pay attention to energetic cycles of healing that are coming up. So, and it's hard to kind of explain what this is to people and how you know that something is coming into your life to be brought to the conscious and healed. So I'll give you an example. So this energetic cycle, I've had this Facebook troll basically, and you guys know that so I have a business profile, but I post a lot of personal stuff on there still, and it could be political views. I've been posting about Black Lives Matter, and I don't hold back my opinion, and it doesn't bother me that like there are people who would maybe want to work with me who don't share my views. Like that doesn't bother me. I don't care. I'm not trying to like win friends on this profile. I'm not trying to like keep everything really neat and tidy and like not offend anybody. I mean, and obviously I don't want to offend people. I'm not posting to offend people either, but I'm gonna state my opinion on my profile. And it's not an issue for me. Like it's not, and I think a lot of people will sanitize their profiles to promote their business more or to like protect their business. And for me, like my business it's not worth like not speaking up about something that I think is important. So I kind of bring my whole self to that profile, even if it's not the best thing for my business. So I've just had a friend who's like another author, and he has been posting on my profile a lot. So like every time I post something, he like trolls it somehow. And it's been really like upsetting my other friends who are like, he's a troll, why don't you block him? And it hasn't really been upsetting me, cause, and he'll even like insult me basically. Like he'll do like a personal attack on me. And it's not just like him sharing his opinion or like disagreeing. He's just like really rude and like hostile and like personally attacking me a lot. And it doesn't bother me. And I don't know why. It just didn't affect me. So like I didn't block him. The thing that was affecting me, because like he was triggering all of my friends who were just like, I can't believe you let him post that on your profile. And people kept messaging me about it. So what was triggering me was people messaging me, and like I was just like embarrassed to have like all my friends messaging me and like asking, why are you letting this person like post on your profile, you know, and it felt like I was being judged and shamed about staying friends with this person. And I was just feeling like really embarrassed about the situation. And so because of that, I was like, man, I really wish he would stop posting on I wish he would stop commenting. And if he doesn't stop commenting, he's going to force me to like unfriend him or block him, or like he's gonna force me to take action eventually. So this has been going on though for like months. And you know what, and I like this guy. Like he's like a friend, and we agree on a lot of stuff and we disagree on a lot of stuff too. And he just doesn't bother me. Like, and the way he's like a very kind of has like a salty approach to sharing his opinion, and it just doesn't bother me. So I didn't block him. I knew, I could feel like there was something he was trying to teach me, and it was big and important, and I was gonna see it through to the end basically. So I did not block him. I did not unfriend him. And it ended up happening. So, and that was this week. And basically he posted about something stupid, and I posted like, and I'll just give you the specifics because I don't want it to be convoluted. So he was posting about this Aunt Jemima brand changing their brand away from Aunt Jemima. And he was saying that he thought it was ridiculous. And I was saying, this story, you can trace the story of Aunt Jemima back to slavery. And because the Black Lives Matter movement is happening, I can understand why the brand would want to distance themselves from this branding. And I can't say I said it as nicely as I'm saying it right now on this video. Like, I was certainly a lot saltier toward him about it. And so we were kind of arguing because he was like, prove that it's traced back to slavery. So I was like posting some links, like, and just like showing, and I was like, this is a verifiably right thing. Like, I know I'm right about this because you can just like Google this and know that it's true. And like the company is saying that it's true. And so it was just like this like argument on Facebook that we were having, which I know you're not supposed to get into those, but I was going to see it through. Let's, and it's fine. Like, it's not a big deal. And we're still friends. Like, we just had this argument in the comment section of Facebook where lots of productive arguments happen, by the way. I'm kidding. So anyway, so we go back and forth, and I was like, and I was wondering, because he was really getting under my skin, and I was like, I was trying to figure out, like, he doesn't bother me at all normally. Like, why is he bothering me in this case? And there were a couple things that I noticed. One is that I don't care if you and I have different opinions, but if you are arguing for something that is easily verified, so like if I think that it's something that's more like a fact than an opinion, I am not having it. Like, if it's something like where there is a right answer and you refuse to acknowledge that right answer, then I'm probably arguing with you about it. And so I realized it wasn't like, I have plenty of compassion for people with different opinions, but when something is wrong, then, and like when I know I'm right and I can like rationalize that it's actually right, that's when I get upset and get really triggered. The second thing I noticed was that I respect rational arguments over emotional arguments. And he was getting pretty emotional. He was saying like, I have this, I had a caregiver who was this older Black woman. And like, he's going on about like how it's just this sweet narrative. And I'm like, it's a narrative traced back to slavery. Like, here are all the links for it. And that I was right. It's that I felt like there was no room for a different interpretation. And so he was making this very emotional argument, and I was just like losing respect for him as he typed. Like I was like, this is like, I don't care about your emotions. This is verifiable and you can trace it back to this. And so I was not having his emotional arguments. And then there were a couple other commenters who were giving emotional arguments, and I was like, oh, this is this is just so frustrating to me, because it's a bunch of people who are being super irrational. And it was just really irritating me. So then I kind of, he had been insulting me for so long on my profile, and so he was trying to insult me again, and I was just like fed up with it. I was like, I'm going to defend myself. So I hit back and tossed my own insult, and it was, it was childish. Like, I shouldn't have done it, but it was a little harsh and kind of hit, I don't know if it hit below the belt, but it was basically like questioning his intelligence, which he is a pretty smart guy. So, but I was being a little, just being a little unkind to him. And I thought it was going to feel good. Like, I thought, man, this guy has been coming after me, and like, I'm going to defend myself. I thought it would feel good, and it felt really, really bad. Felt really, really horrible. And so I was trying to kind of unpack that. And so what it reminded me of, when I was in, I think I was in 7th grade, I had this girl who like was bullying me, and she was bullying me and bullying me and bullying me. And I didn't know what to do about it. And I had this magazine called Young and Modern, and in the back of the magazine, they give you like little, they give you like little insults basically. And it was a section called like how to handle bullying. And so, you know, I was an impressionable teen and I read it, and one of them, you know, one of them was like, oh, I love your shirt. Where'd you get it? Like a Salvation Army, or like, you know, like something like that. It was like, where'd you get it? And then it was like somewhere, you know, somewhere that was like insulting, like, I don't know, like a bargain basement or just something like that. And so I used that. So this girl was bullying me, and I was like, I just used the script from this magazine to kind of zing her back in front of all of her friends. And I did it, and like the minute I said it, like her face just crumpled, and she was like, and then all her friends were like, oh, that was so mean of you. You know, it was like this really surprising reaction for me as a 12-year-old. And it felt really bad. Even though she had been so mean to me that whole time, it felt really bad to hit her back and to like really, really stick it to her. It felt horrible. And after that, she never bullied me again. So I realized that, and this situation was the same. It was like the same exact energy of like, this guy has been bullying me for months on Facebook, basically, and I hit him back even just a little. I wasn't even hitting him back that hard, and it was like he crumpled under the insult, and which again, like, and it was the same with this bully. It was like I lost a bit of, like, I do have compassion, I guess, but it's also like I lost a bit of respect, because I'm like, you dish it out, but you can't take it. And so this whole thing, like, this whole story makes me look like a horrible person. I realize that. But basically what it was showing me, because I was thinking about this afterwards, like, why did it feel so bad? You know, why was the reaction so bad? And it was basically like, God was showing me that I'm never going to get my twin soul union by being right about things, because I felt really justified in both these scenarios, or in all these scenarios, to hit back, because I was like, he's been bullying me for months. Like, give him a little bit of his own medicine. Or like, he's been, you know, he's throwing out like these really emotional arguments, and he's being really irrational. Like, I know I'm right. And it was just this realization that, like, needing to be right has been messing up my twin soul union for a long time. And I tapped into that specifically, like, just this energy of like needing to be right. And what I saw there was, I saw a lot of tension and conflict. And what I realized about this was that, meaning to be right was me not desiring peace in my twin soul union, and not wanting to have compassion for somebody in my twin soul union, or for my, you know, for my masculine in my twin soul union. And so it was just this realization. It showed me like this huge piece of my union where I was not desiring peace. I was desiring conflict. I was desiring war. I was desiring argument, tension. And that the reason I was desiring the arguments is because it allowed me to be right. So I was prioritizing being right over being at peace with my masculine. And I started to look back on previous relationships and noticed this. And so I'm just going to give you like a very obvious and like very basic example. So he wasn't my first boyfriend, but he's like kind of a more major relationship that I had. So this ex-boyfriend, you know, it was like a long distance relationship, and we broke up a lot. And like during one of the breakups, I kissed another guy, and this ex-boyfriend got really upset. And he was even upset about like after we broke up for the last time, I kissed somebody, and he was even upset about that. And I was like, not only are we broken up, but you are also dating other people. And I was just like, do you realize like how hypocritical that is? That you are out doing the same exact thing as me, and you are mad at me for what I'm doing. And I felt really justified in being right, basically. Like, I was like, I know I'm right. Like, that's hypocritical. And there was like an emotional argument to be made for just like, this hurts my feelings. But I was always like, you're not justified in having hurt feelings over this. Like, you are doing the same exact thing. We're not together. I have no obligations to you. And, and again, even as you hear this, you can tell that like, I want to be right as opposed to wanting peace with this. Well, I mean, this person is not specifically important, but I was choosing being right over being at peace with somebody. And I do that a lot in my relationships. Like, if I know that I'm right, I'm gonna like be really clear to that person that I'm right. And God was just showing me like this like makes your relationships fall apart like over and over again. Like, even with friends, like definitely with exes, but even with friends, this causes a lot of conflict in your relationships. So basically, he was just showing me that this is blocking my union. So this has been a pretty long update. I'm looking at the time, but what I wanted to do here is just give you this update on this healing that I did, and how it's coming along, and also just share the different ways that you can tap into your energy. And when I think about tapping into the energy of my union from all these different angles, it really shows me like all the work that I need to do still. And it shows me what's out of alignment and what's in alignment. So I think that can be really helpful. For me, the other thing that's really helpful to me about it is that I'm not focused on a specific person. And I think that can really uncover a lot more for you, even if your twin soul is the person you think it is, or you think he or she is. It can really help you to just tap into that as like a personal and have like a more personal experience with your union, and really come from a place of like, this union is all about me, and what does it look like? And that kind of leads me to my last major insight, which is not related to tapping into the energy, but what God was telling me, and this was kind of like, he was just showing me a block, but what he was telling me, he was saying that I was trying to do my union on my own, and he was like, you don't get to ascend on your own without your twin soul. Like, you have to be in a partnership with them. And so he was just saying that like, I had this energy of like doing it on my own that I had to release. And so that was kind of the other major thing. So kind of unusual because it's weird for me, because it's like in some areas I'm supposed to be on my own, like with my businesses. He's like, you're building these businesses on your own, and like you're going to be the breadwinner through this. And then he was also saying that you have to, like, you don't get to ascend on your own. Like, this is like, you're in it with this twin soul. Like, whoever your twin soul is, you are in it with them no matter what. You are not moving forward without them. You guys are a team and a partnership. And I'm trying to integrate those two things right now. Is just, it's interesting for me. Even integrating this thing about being right, it's a big one, and I don't know how to integrate it. I'm just gonna be honest, because I do really like being right, and I do really struggle to choose emotional arguments, or to like respect emotional arguments, because I was really feeling like disgust too with these emotional arguments. Just like, ugh, like this person is just not even being rational about this, you know? And I think the big thing with that one is to realize that, like, it's like, where am I denying my own emotions? I think is what it's trying to show me, of like, you know, where am I hurt by something, even though I have no right to be hurt by it? And is it okay? Like, can I allow myself my own pain? So I think that's how to interpret that. Anyway, kind of all over the place. I hope this was helpful to you though, and gave you some ideas and exercises for how you can tap into that energy of your twin soul. And I am going to put these exercises, and I'm going to clean them up, and like, it'll be much clearer. So if you're like, what exercises? Like, what, like, she didn't explain how to do any of this. It's going to be a lot clearer in my book. And so the book is going to be about, I think I'm going to call it Twin Soul versus Karmic Twin versus Soulmate. I think is what it's going to be called, or something along those lines. But it's basically going to be like, how do you determine who your twin soul is? And it's going to have lots of different exercises so that you can fully verify your twin soul. And also so that if you meet your twin soul, you can recognize them and you can tell the difference between your twin soul and like a false twin flame. So that book is gonna hopefully be on pre-order by the time this content comes out. And I will be sharing, you know, more about this in that book. That's all for me. Thank you so much for watching and listening. And I hope you have a beautiful and blessed day.